Hey y'all, welcome back to Poplar Creek Farm. We are going to do a full garden tour today and show you guys all the garden, all the vegetable garden, as well as the flower beds and the orchard area. Show you guys how everything is growing. Someone just woke up from nap, so she's a little cranky still, but she wanted to do the video with me and be my little helper. Huh? My garden helper? Yeah. Let's go check out what's growing. So in front here, we've got two grape plants. And then this is all a flower bed. Now there are some flowers coming up. As you can see, there's some flowers. There's still some weeds growing here, but not a ton at this point. There's some more flowers. They're kind of coming up in bunches because we just kind of threw seeds. There are sunflowers in the back of this. I don't know if the chickens kind of pulled them all up. And I have a couple plants that were in my bee garden from last year that I want to dig up and put in here that are perennials. I have 4 bee balm plants, and then I have some other plant that I cannot remember the name of at all. It smells really good though. And then over here are the rhubarb that totally went to seed this year, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But next year we'll have 4 big plants of rhubarb. We had a 5th, but that one totally died. And then another grape plant. And let's go check out inside the vegetable garden. The plan is to eventually have the grapes kind of trellising up and over. All right, so in here it's a bit of a mess because we've had some frost, or close to frost this week. It didn't actually ever freeze, but so we've got the frost fabric laid out. Here is our rainbow chard. It's looking beautiful. Can't wait to start harvesting this. I love chard. I love it sauteed. It's like my favorite. I never knew how much I liked it until I bought it one time, and I'm obsessed. These are all the onions, and my garden needs weeding. It has rained all week. It rained pretty much from Thursday on, like soaking rain every day, or at least a drizzle, and it's really not great to be in your garden when it's raining. So I haven't gotten out here to weed. I did weed this whole area last week, but rain just makes the weeds grow. So I got to get back out here and weed again, weed the whole garden. I have a lot of weeding to do in the back of the garden, but we'll get there. Here is our purple kohlrabi. It is doing super well. Yeah, they're kind of bent over. It's okay, but doing super, super well. I cannot wait to harvest these. These are super fast growing. It's okay. And then back here is the green kohlrabi that is also doing spectacular. Look at that thing. Don't mind the tape on my finger. I cut myself with butchering chickens this morning. And, you know, but that is really good size. That's about a golf ball. It's probably the biggest one thus far. And then I've got, I think it's cauliflower in the back. It's either cauliflower or broccoli. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's cauliflower though, because I lost the tag for it. So we'll see what it produces. Up here, I've got my red cabbage that is starting to produce a little head. I mean, it's tiny, but it's getting there.
It's like a bow.
Yeah, it's so teeny tiny, huh? I have one red cabbage that decided it was going to not produce and go right to seed. I mean, it didn't get very big at all, but I'm okay with it. You know what? It does not, I don't know why that.
Seed.
Maybe that's just the seeds, I guess. But we're gonna let it go to seed. We're gonna let it flower, and we can save the seeds from these.
Are we gonna eat this?
No, we'll save the seeds from them. And then I have calabrese broccoli back here.
So this should be log, that should be clover. Some cauliflower.
Actually, this right here is purple sprouting broccoli, which obviously I had a plant or 2 die there in the middle. And then one that's doing like really well, along with some smaller ones. And then I have the calabrese broccoli back here. Next, this is all kale. This right here, I think, is the dazzling blue. Yeah, this is the dazzling blue kale.
They get so big.
They are getting really big. And then this is just stunning. I mean, I'm obsessed. It's just so beautiful. And this, I think, is the, yeah, Ragged Jack. Huh?
Okay.
Yeah, pick it. It's a giant weed. It's a milkweed, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, pick it from the bottom. There you go. Good job. We have milkweed popping out everywhere, but this is that Ragged Jack, and it's just doing so well. So much of it. You did? So I'm gonna start harvesting this probably this week to be bringing to the market.
I picked them with it.
That's okay. This right here, ooh, got some major buggies on this one. In there. These are Brussels sprouts, which will take forever and ever and ever to grow. They will probably not be harvested till fall, which is totally okay. Right here is dwarf kale. This is some of our favorite, huh?
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna harvest them.
What's harvest?
Oh, it's so yummy. You gonna harvest them?
No.
Take a piece.
I can't.
Here, take one of the bigger pieces. I know, you don't like them super big. Probably should check it for buggies, but so good.
So buggy.
So lots of dwarf kale, which is probably one of my favorites. It's very sweet. And then this is rainbow lacinato kale. This one seems to be different than the rest. Just seems to be darker purple in the middle. I don't know. Maybe it's just the colors coming through more. And then I have regular lacinato kale as well. It's not doing super hot, but doing okay. Right here is my rutabagas that I need to thin, but I just really don't like thinning plants. Hot peppers are at the end of the pepper row. I'll show you in a second, baby. And then there's beets. Beets, random break, and then more beets. 2 different kinds of beets. And then row of carrots. Big long row. Some are doing, like, obviously some sprouted a ton.
Mommy,
I know there's not so much.
when we grow these, we should give some to the bunny.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we got our peas that don't want to go to the trellis. They want to go the opposite way of the trellis. So we need to kind of work them over this way, and as they get big enough, have them hold on.
This is going to seed. This is going to seed.
No, that's not going to seed. But big long row of peas. They look wonderful.
Where is my...
Then a row of green cabbage. I think this is, I think this might just be regular green cabbage. I have Savoy cabbage somewhere too. And then, let's see. Oh, all of my lettuces that really haven't germinated. Like, at all. And that's, they've had tons of rain now. So, yeah. If they don't germinate soon, I'll have to replant all of those. Then we got our peppers, which are starting. Nope, these are sweet peppers right here. This is a yellow monster. Starting to set blossoms already. Which they've been in the ground long enough that I'm okay with letting them blossom. Some of them are still teeny tiny. We had a couple that just didn't do super hot. Lots of weeds. That's a pepper plant.
Yeah.
This is the weed that is like, oops, my worst enemy. It is the morning glory weed. I have it everywhere in the garden. That and milkweed. As much as I love milkweed. Yeah, as much as I love milkweed, we don't want it to grow in here. So we got yellow monster, then California wonder, which is the sweet red pepper. This is a mini bell mix, sweet banana pepper. Also sweet banana pepper. It's so funny, like big, nice sweet banana pepper. Teeny sweet banana pepper.
Is hot pepper down there? And
some of them clearly have a little, down that way, a little bit of damage from the cold or from just too much rain, but that's okay. Ancho poblano.
I could tell. He's here.
Yeah, that's a red rocket.
Yeah, that's not.
These.
That's not.
Oh my goodness, look at that.
That's not happening to me.
That's not happening to you?
Nope.
Red rocket are one of the earliest producers. I had that last year too. They were super early. I mean, look at that thing. Look, it's already producing. Yeah. And it's only, oh, there's another one on this one too. Right here. That's only end of May. almost June. Tomorrow is June, which just means my son's birthday. And then jalapeno plants. Lots of jalapenos for salsa.
More jalapenos.
Yeah, right here is supposed to be bush cucumbers, which all of my other cucumbers came up, but the bush. Hold on. No, that's a weed. None of the bush cucumbers have come up yet, which is weird, because all the other ones did, and the zucchini didn't either, which again is kind of weird, because the zucchini came up a ton last year. Really quick, really easy. So much weeding to do. But we'll keep an eye on it, and if it doesn't come up in the next week, I'll reseed. And then right here is all of my potato plants. You can kind of see where the bumps are, is where the rows are. And then I had sweet potatoes, but I think they all died. I'm gonna be totally honest. I grew sweet potato slips and I killed them. Oh no, just kidding. Here's one.
Is this one?
It's kind of looking dead, but
Look at.
that's a milkweed.
Another milkweed.
And then there's a couple more sweet potatoes.
Milkweed.
Yeah. And then lots of weeds. This area is not planted. Right here through here, all to there is not planted, because I kind of intended just to see what happened, let it go for a bit. But I need the squashes, because we're not planting because our tiller broke. We're not planting up on my parents' land. Lots of corn coming up in kind of some funky rows, because that's how I planted. Nope, that's a weed. But the corn is very inconsistently coming up, so
Where is it?
right here's corn.
No.
Yep.
They look like a milky.
There's some over there
They
too.
look like a milky weed.
You think so? Beans are coming up back here. These are pole beans, and they will trellis up this fence. But then nothing random beans. Nothing random beans. Those are beans.
Come here.
They're beans, baby. That's, yeah, just leave it. And none of the other pole beans have come up yet, which were new seeds this year, so I don't know. Having some issues with germination. It could be just because it was so dry for a bit. I do have a couple down here.
Oh, another milkweed.
Right there and right there. Had a loofah gourd. Totally killed it. And then my wild garlic patch that has a milkweed that is like super tall. I really should do something with this garlic patch, but at this point, I just don't care that much. I just don't have the energy to fight it. Right here on this back trellis is Kajari melons, which are hard to see because I have to weed. But here's one, there's one, there's one. I think that's it on that side, and then there's a couple more on this side. I'm excited to see the Kajari melon.
There's one. There's one.
Good job. I'm excited to see the Kajari melons grow. And then over here I've got some watermelon. Watch out. Careful. I've got a watermelon right here, right behind the trellis.
That's,
yep.
that will keep us up.
And then I think there's not another one of these ones until towards the end. But over here there were a bunch more. So here's one. Here's one. There's one. There's one. There's one. They grew really close together, and then there's like none. Then there's one. Yep, there's one. There's one. I don't see any of the other ones. They also, this whole area needs to be weeded. And on this trellis is cucumbers, slicer cucumbers. Obviously I really should thin this. This is 3 together, but I just don't want to. Not yet, at least. I'll probably thin it eventually.
Oh my God. This one's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh my God, that one's way back there. I put them way here, but now it's back there.
Those are all slicers, just different slicers.
Oh my God, that one's so
Here are the plants that I haven't sold yet. Hopefully they'll sell them this week or next. They're gonna be on sale this week at the market, guys. all of my labels
That's over
totally
there.
washed off.
That's over there.
Yeah, these are beans, but I only see 2 up and then nothing. I don't know what is going on with germination this year, but yeah. There's some beans, some in the back there. Then my tomato plants that are doing really good. There's a Brandywise. My Cherokee purples died, so I need to replace that with something. My Abe Lincoln. We'll see. I probably will replace it. And then these are some cherry tomatoes that were left at the end. Some yellow pear that are doing really good though, because they looked pretty crappy. That's why I didn't sell them at the plant sale. More beans. Again, kind of cruddy germination. I mean, there's one coming up, so I'm hopeful that maybe we'll still get some more. I don't know. I'm really upset with the germination of these beans. And these were mostly from Baker Creek. Now, it could just be the beans themselves or conditions or whatnot. I don't know. But I'm pretty sad. Oh, here's a nice big mortgage lifter. Look at that thing. Start getting out here and pruning these suckers as they come. But overall, they're doing really, really good. See, this is one of those things where it gets hard. Like, is that a sucker or is that the main stem? I'd rather just not prune it. Lost a tomato plant there and another one right here. So, and down here, I don't know what, climbing triple crop and Brandywise, I don't know what happened to them. They just like are gone. So I'm gonna replace them with something new. Back there, beans. On this trellis, I'm super excited. Look at these cucamelons. There's a whole bunch of them. I'll probably thin them some because they like all germinated. So I'll probably thin them some, but for now I'll keep them because that's what I do. Over here, I think the silver slicer. Cucumbers, and there's one, and I think there's, yeah, one down there and another one kind of on the frost fabric right now. And then these beans, which were gold. The Gold Rush. That's what they are, Gold Rush beans that we love, are doing super good. And that's what's over here too. And like insane germination. And then again, tomatoes, and there's a couple that did die over here too. Like a Paul Robeson happened to die, which was like a tiny one. But then there's like a good Paul Robeson. My Dr. Witchies, I have one. I'm going to baby this thing and try to get it to grow because I really want a Dr. Witchies. But if I don't, it is what it is. And then again, like a beefsteak is gone. But then like that's a huge climbing triple crop at the end. And then at the very end, again, a plant gone missing. More beans with kind of spotty germination. And clearly I need to not use permanent marker on these things because I have no idea what's growing there. I'm hoping I can look back at videos and figure out what I planted. But here's some beans that are doing super well. And then tomatoes that are also doing super well that again have a couple of spotty here and there that are missing. That just died, which happens because I kind of planted the worst ones for me. Really poor germination for beans here. And then again, good tomatoes. The only things I can attribute the poor germination to that makes sense to me are, for the beans, are just the fact that it was so dry for so long. Now, I was watering my garden almost every single night, but not every night. So I don't know if that did it or what. I'm hoping some will come through. I did have some that when it did rain really hard, they popped up, the actual bean seed popped up through the soil, so I pushed it back in. I'm hoping we'll get germination. I do need to replace these tomatoes actually probably today and get these squashes planted this week. I'm not gonna plant those today, but I do need to get the tomatoes in. Let's go look at the other bee garden real quick. So this is the other little bee garden, and as of right now, other than weeds, I see 0 germination. That's all weeds right there. That was there before. I don't see anything popping up yet. Which I don't know if the seeds just got eaten or by the chickens or displaced by all the rain. I'm hopeful that we'll still get something. Here's another blueberry bush, and we have obviously see the orange marking. We've marked pretty much all of these that we can see. This is another blueberry. This is something we chopped. And then these right here are pretty much all raspberry bushes from our neighbor, which I'm super excited about. They look lovely. I think this one here might be dead because it doesn't have any leaves, and I think there's a couple others, but that happens when transplanting plants. You get a couple that die. And here's our beautiful elderberry. We had another one, and I don't know where it went. It was like that big. But this one is absolutely gorgeous and has probably tripled in size since last year. So I'm hoping it'll continue to grow beautifully, and if it does, we will get another elderberry, at least one more next year, so that they can cross-pollinate. We have a big area here also in the middle that is like unfilled in, and next year we're gonna build a big raised bed for strawberries. That is all my old bee garden. That is just chaos. Here is one of our gala apple trees, looking stunning. We picked off as much of the blossoms as we could, so it should not set fruit because it's only 2 years here, or this is only its second year here. It really needs another year at least before we start expecting it to produce fruit. These two trees, one of them is a red delicious and one of them is a golden delicious. Which one is which? I have no idea. We had 2 of each and the other 2 died, and they were from Tractor Supply. They were like $15. And they look pretty darn good. I'm pretty excited. They'll probably be another 5 years before they even produce any fruit, which is fine. This is another gala apple tree, and then we have a Cortland and another Cortland apple tree. That's either raspberry or blackberry, but I think that one is pretty much dead. There seems to be a little bit of new growth from the bottom, so that's the reason we flagged it and then are letting it go. If it seems to grow this year, then we will leave it, obviously. But all the old growth is pretty much dead. And then another raspberry or blackberry, I don't remember which. And again, same thing over here. These giant bushes back here, these 2, are cranberry bushes. Just like tripped on a bitch. Which still has some giant weeds through them. But look at these beautiful flowers. They're so freaking cute. That's a cranberry flower, apparently. These bushes are really good size. I just got them last year, and both of them are flowering and look absolutely beautiful. So we will see. I don't know if they'll produce anything this year. I don't know how quickly they produce. Oh, hi, bee. You come to say hi? I don't know what kind of bee you are. You're not one of my ladies. But they look really good. Over here, minus the bunnies in the back, are our peach trees, which this one was probably, I don't know, a quarter of the size last year. Just doing amazing. And then we planted some new ones, which so far don't show any new growth. This one we grafted onto. The original actually is showing new growth. And before the new graft is showing new growth. So we'll see what produces. We'll see if it actually, not produces, but we'll see what grows. The grafts may not have taken, and so we may kind of just end up with this stump as what is actually alive. Another one that was grafted onto is right here. Hi, bunnies. Hi, Jack and Oreo. We have been moving them through this orchard. We have bricks so that if there's like any holes, we can kind of mark them off, but through here, and they are going to fertilize the orchard until my sister takes them back eventually. Again, another peach tree. This was one that was here last year. It definitely has some kind of fungus. I'm not sure what. I'm not super familiar with like what ails. Here we go. What ails these peach trees? But there's definitely some kind of fungus on them. And so we'll figure out what we need to do to treat it. Again, this is one that we had last year and is probably doubled at least in size. This is another one. I think we had this one last year, maybe. We might have just transplanted this. We also, as you see the orange flags, we cut a few. I think that's one more right there. So the orchard is slowly but surely getting bigger and more beautiful. And eventually these trees will be absolutely massive. Over in front of my orchard, you can kind of see this row of orange flags. And they almost look like sticks from here. But those are rows of Sharons, my mother-in-law's sister. So my husband's aunt gave them to us. She had a bunch growing. And they're a flowering bush, so I'm excited. So, not a whole lot happening in the garden yet. Hopefully in the next few weeks we will get a lot more growth. A lot more to show. Hopefully some more germination, because that seems to be our biggest struggle this year for whatever reason. I think it was probably just the fact that it was so dry and so hot for quite a while. But I'm hoping things will come around with all this rain that we've gotten this week. And we'll have a beautiful, bountiful garden soon enough. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Remember, we're growing today for a better tomorrow. Please like and subscribe and join me on the next one.